When it comes to training your salespeople, specifically your technical sellers, there's a better way to do it than just to throw them out there and tell them to look at the manual and hope and pray that they actually grasp the things. On today's episode, we're going to teach you three critical things that you need to understand when it comes towards teaching your technical sales team. Ooh. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on today's episode, we have a fantastic guest. Her name is Kristen Taraszewski. Now, Kristen is a former, a NASA engineer. Let me tell you what this is. Let me brag about her for instance. She was a flight control engineer at NASA. And the cool part about this is that she worked with training the astronauts and training teams and training organizations. And I mean, this is like legit stuff. This is like cool stuff. Now she's taken all of her experience of training and guiding people who are doing some of the most complex work in like human history towards doing training for sales. Now, the principles are powerful, and she's going to lay out three things. If this is the first time watching one of our videos, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast as well, and we'll make sure to notify you every single time we're sharing videos. Let's go ahead and dive into the conversation, learn a little bit more about Kristen and how we can take some rocket science experience and to take off your sales. That's pretty cool, right? Let's dive in. You frame it up from your experience when it comes towards technical sellers getting trained. How have you seen them trained? Historically.
For the companies that actually have a program, many companies do not, and you'd be surprised. These $600 million companies don't necessarily have a definitive onboarding or upskilling program for their salespeople. A lot of times it'll be, here's a stack of manuals, or here's some marketing material, or here's a few online courses. Here you go. That's, giddy up, get selling kind of thing. Occasionally they'll bring these sales guys in from the field. The problem with that is that, number one, it's extremely expensive to pull them out of the field. It's like over $3,000 a day per day, and that's adding up kind of their salary, their lost plan, and lecture-based training historically has a 10% retention rate. So you bring them out of the field, you spend tons of money on that event, and then in a month 90% of the information is lost. So it's kind of a combination of the approach, the methodology, and learning and development, call it the modality, or how you're training them. Typically, we see sales training programs just really kind of broken.
With that, then, there's a way to fix this. And I know there's three ideas that we talked about before, and I would love for you to break down each of them. The first one was to give them a clear map where to start and where they need to go. Then one of the other thoughts you shared with me was to think in the context of the customer. And then the other side was gamification. About the clear map, where to start and where to end. Talk to us about how this can help us when it comes towards training technical sellers.
And this is really true for all salespeople.
Sure.
It's kind of like taking a trip. If you're traveling from California to New York, you need a map. We use MapQuest now, but without a very clear pathway of what they need to know, how they need to progress through it, it's very difficult for these people to get the knowledge that they need to be successful in the field. So when we say, I call them learning maps or roadmaps, every single person within the sales organization, including inside sales, the technical people, the deployment engineers, should have a very clear pathway of, these are the things you need to know for success, and it needs to be a feedback loop. So the guys from the field also need to be able to say, hey, this is what we're learning, this is what we're finding, this is what we feel we need to know to be successful. The second is then teaching the salespeople in an integrated way. So, a lot of times first you'll learn the tech, then you'll learn the application or how it's applied or used in the customer setting, then you'll learn sales process. To be successful, you need to apply all of these three things at the same time. It's kind of like Mission Control Center. We would train for flights, doing simulations, and during those simulations we'd have a ton of information thrown at us from a variety of different issues. The same is true with salespeople. So training must be on all of the topics at the same time in a progressive way. And then the last part is really being able to individualize the training using kind of unique and interesting things. COVID has caused this huge exit from sales and from all positions. So to retain really good people and to bring in really talented people, we need to have a unique and interesting way to train them. So we feel that that is gamification. Gamification allows the person who is training to apply the technology of the product, apply the technology of how it is used, and the sales process all at the same time. The other thing we find with gamification is, like, let's say you show up day one, Donald, you've got this knowledge, Kristen, I've got, slightly different knowledge set. Through gamification, we can customize the experience for you and for me, so we speed up that training process, and of course for salespeople, time is money.
Thinking in the context of the customer, talk to me about that component, that second area. How do I best do that effectively when it comes towards creating my training content?
Yep. So in terms of the gamification, what we have done with that is replicated kind of the scenario that the salesperson would experience. So number one, you got to get your foot in the door. You got to prove that you've got something that they need. So identifying different opportunities within settings that the company can sell product into. The next level sort of integrated thinking is now matching the benefits of your product with the customer needs. So there's a real sort of skill to this, not presenting features, but talking about, hey, this is going to do this for you, and we can do that for you, we can do this for you. And then that third level of integrated thinking is starting to talk a little bit of tech. Our barcode reader has this range, we do this in terms of delivery and data output kind of thing. So it's kind of going from the macro down to slightly more detailed, and then finally down kind of into the nitty-gritty, which is where that actual sale takes place.
Kristen, if folks out there listening want to get in touch with you and to learn more about this and how they can take advantage of it for their team, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
Through our website, ElevenPoint2.com. So it's spelled out ElevenPoint2.com. There's a Contact Us tab on that website, and we'll be happy to share our knowledge and kind of what we've seen and that kind of thing.
Well, we'll put a link in the show notes, so if you're listening, you can go ahead and click on it, get access to it, and get a chance to connect with Kristen and the team. And let's have some fun with the training now and help you all to be successful. And the beautiful part is that you're learning from a rocket scientist. Hey, that was Kristen T. If you want to go ahead and connect with her, you can find all of her information in the show notes. Yes, she did work with NASA. You can go ahead and ask her about that. Connect with her on LinkedIn and say, Kristen, I heard about you on Donald's podcast, The Sales Evangelist, and I'm a fan of space as well. She gave me some cool insights on the cool spots to be able to watch rockets take off in Florida. So if you're in Florida, let me know, and I can go ahead and drop some insider information for you on that. As always, listen, if you're enjoying the podcast, leave us a rating and review. Tell someone else about the show as well so they can enjoy the benefits. That's like blessings and benefits put together from this podcast. I am super grateful for Kristen. I'm super grateful she was able to share insights today, and hopefully this can help you or your team when it comes towards creating great content for training. As always, we want to help you to find your ideal customers. We want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. We want you to close more deals, but most importantly, we want you to raise your level of thinking and go out and do big things.